So we're going to go through really quickly how you can make your own costume for our short film that we're doing. So this is one that I just made myself. I got a bed sheet and a pillowcase from the thrift store. It cost me maybe $3-4 combined. This is jacket, and it is just a pillowcase that I've cut up, and then underneath we just have a bed sheet that I have also cut up. And you girl can't sew, so I've just stapled things together, and we're going to go through and have a closer look at where I have staples. I did get a queen size sheet just so I can make sure it fit me because I'm quite tall. So when starting to make this at the very beginning, you want to make sure that you line up the bottom so that the bottoms meet nice and evenly, and that's going to give you your line for the top, which will be your shoulder, your neck, and your arm. Obviously at the neck we cut out a nice little neck circle so we can fit our head through. You then just cut out a big rectangle down the side, which will give you the body of the robe, and then it's going to give you your arm, which is what obviously the sleeve is. And then we just staple all the way down the side. If you want to sew it, you can. If you want to use like an iron-on hemming thing, you can as well, but I just staple. And then we have this full robe. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the seam of the pillowcase that runs along here, and obviously this end down here is where the pillow would be inserted. So this is going to act as your top. We're going to use this line along here to sit on either of the shoulders right there. So what you do is you then just cut down along the neckline so that you get a nice little scoop at the front. You just cut straight down the front all the way down to the very bottom of the pillowcase, which is right here. So here we have the pillowcase on the ground for us just to have a quick look at. So if we get nice and close, we can see that again we have the top seam at the top. We've cut out a little bit along the back just so we don't have a straight seam running across. You want to cut a little bit out of the back. The front, we definitely went through and cut more, but then we went down and just cut all the way along till we got to the very bottom. And down here is obviously where the pillow would enter. So we've just cut a line straight up the top to the neck, and then we've kept the seams at the shoulders. What you also want to do is just cut a little bit off the edge. So what I did here is the seam for the pillowcase still runs along the edge. So I just got to a point where I felt like, yep, that was a good spot. Cut from the top all the way down and kind of brought it off the edge. So as you're cutting along the seam, you're cutting on the inside of the seam, so the seam would be running down here. We cut on the inside of the seam all the way down till we know we've finished our arm. Then we're just going to bring it off and cut sideways off the edge. That gives us a hole for the arm, so we can put this on as a jacket. So when we're looking at bringing all of the design elements of this film together, when we're looking at the visual artists and looking at the costumes that are made by our actors, we want to make sure that we focus on using the same colors. So each of the characters will have a specific color that we want to make sure we highlight. Those colors will be shown right here, so you can pause this, write down what character you are and what color you need to look for, and then find a way to integrate that into either the images that you're creating if you're a visual artist, or into the costume that you're making if you are the actor. So for actors, when we're looking at our costumes, when you're looking at the color of your robe, which is what you wear underneath, make that something neutral. Let's look for grays, let's look for browns, let's look for beige, cream, or white. Then we're going to find a way to put something over the top, which is going to be that specific color for that character. So that might be some sort of jacket, it might be a shawl that you just wear around your neck, it might be some sort of tie around your waist, it might be something that you wear on your head. I'm sure you've all seen the classic children's tea towel, washcloth over the head with a strap of fabric around to make a hat. If you want to do that, you can. If you want to get creative and make something different, you can do that too. But let's keep our base colors nice and neutral, and then let's do the splash of color in the costume somehow on the top. When we're looking for our visual artists, when you're creating your 3 images, you'll have a beginning, a middle, and an end image. And you want to make sure you keep design elements consistent. So if it's the same space, make sure that the background is the same, and all we're changing is the character and their position or what is going on. But again, let's make sure we try and keep our colors consistent so that when we see a character on the screen played by the actor and we see the images created by our visual artist, They are the same, and we can tell that it's for the same person. We're not confused which backstory we're listening to. The other thing I want to say to you as you're making either your costume or as you're making your images as visual artists is be okay with making mistakes. It's okay if you do something and it doesn't work out the way it does in your head. It's okay to get halfway through a project and change your mind. It's okay to have a fluid process. A lot of the time when we make things, it's not the same when we start as it is when we finish. The idea we start with rarely is what we come up with at the end. So it's okay to go through the process and realize something doesn't work, it doesn't fit, or maybe you just have a better idea and you want to use that instead. Feel comfortable, feel confident, ask questions. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, and we're going to create something really beautiful that is going to bring God all of the glory.